Welcome back to the Bear Down Abroad podcast. I'm here on my own this week. Ant has abandoned me. I'm going to get him back for that. Don't worry about it. So I'm doing a little bit at the start for a change. It might not be as good because Ant's not doing it, but you'll just have to bear with me. But in better news, we have an excellent guest with us this week. We have one of the legends, I would say, of the Chicago Bears radio and beat scene. We have none other than Chicago ESPN's Peggy Kusinski joining us today, and I can't wait to get talking about Bears. I can't wait to get talking about the Week 1 matchup on Monday Night Football. So let's hit that intro. Yes, welcome in, guys. It's great to have you with us. And we're joined by Peggy. Peggy, I'm so excited to have you on the show for the first time. First and foremost, how are you getting on? How's your off-season been?
It doesn't feel like much of an off season, to be honest with you. When you have a new head coach, it's just nonstop news. So I think we've broken down everything from the coaching staff to the front office to the quarterback to every position possible on the team, and it's time to play some real football.
Yes, that is exactly where I'm at as well. It's been such a long few months. I'm so glad we've got to this point. It's always that sort of July period where you're just sort of sitting about and nothing's happening. Obviously, you got training camp and all that kind of thing. Listen, I want to talk about the game. I do, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the sort of preseason, about training camp, and what your sort of kind of biggest takeaways were from that period in general.
So I think that, it's funny on the show that I do on ESPN radio on Saturdays here in Chicago. I was telling my co-host that I took out my notes that I wrote down at the beginning of training camp, and I think they were like 6-7 pages of notes, like all the questions going into camp. And when camp closed last week, I went through and started deleting, no longer a question, no longer a question. And I got to tell you, Tony, I still had like 4 pages of notes. So, um, wow, I think impressions are Ben Johnson, excuse me, is what we hoped he would be for at least on the outside, right? We don't know yet in game. He is as organized as we hoped, as detailed as we had heard, as tough as we heard. He has a coaching staff that is actually holding these guys accountable, but there's still a lot of question marks. I don't know that it's his fault. I think that it's really kind of goes back to question marks we had after the draft, when they waited until the 7th round to take a running back, when they didn't address the pass rusher. And of course, the number one question this year is Caleb Williams. And I don't know that we have a lot of answers, to be honest with you. And I'm not sure this game against the Vikings is going to give us a lot of answers because, they're going to throw the book at him. And we need to see so many things about him that I think we really have to be patient, and nobody wants to hear that, but it is really going to take some time.
Yeah, I would 100% agree on that point. I think we need to be patient. I think we've had this sort of roller coaster of an off season where we've got the best offensive mind who is available to come in and be the head coach of the team. We've built this staff that's they're really hard nosed. They're coaching the guys like they never were before, and some of them weren't getting coached before. So that's a huge thing, you know. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see the effect that has on the players, but most importantly, is the effect that's going to have on Caleb Williams himself. Peggy, we've seen today that the Bears have announced that their starting left tackle is going to be Braxton Jones. Then Ben Johnson was asked about, you know, what was going on there. He said that he knows what he's doing. Is it perfect every time? No, but they've seen the execution go up. There's a trust level. He's going to ascend the more that he plays.
Yeah.
Is in your thoughts with the left tackle position? Because for me, I'm kind of thinking, well, if you've got 3 left tackles, then you don't have one. You know, like,
Yeah.
where are you with that whole thing with Braxton Jones? And obviously in his final year this year as well. So this is a big opportunity for him to get a big payout if it goes well.
Well, here's the thing. Ryan Poles addressed the interior of the offensive line. He knew that Braxton Jones was coming back from a fairly gruesome injury with a broken leg, and he didn't really address it. The idea that you could draft a right tackle from college and switch him to the left side is really some high thinking. And considering Ryan Poles was an offensive lineman, you know, I get it. They brought in some really much better coaches this year, but it's still a huge deal, even though Ozzie Trapillo is who I'm talking about, even though he played some left tackle, his right tackle position is where he is most comfortable. So you were hoping, Ozzie Trapillo, when you draft guys in the second round, you expect them to have an effect on the team right away. And the fact that you were working with him to move him to the left side and it just wasn't working soon enough tells me that, all right, well, Braxton, the job is yours, ... for now, until these guys get up to speed, until Ozzie Trapillo either gets up to speed with game speed, NFL speed, technique, everything, or Theo Benedette comes out of nowhere to wow everybody. In the meantime, you know, there's a lot of teams that don't have a great left tackle. And so you leave that up to your offensive mastermind, Ben Johnson, to scheme ways to protect Caleb Williams, to use max protect with your tight ends, with your running backs, with your receivers. You're going to see all of those guys helping and chipping and helping out Braxton Jones on the left side. You may even see some sweeps. We may see, because the interior guys are so good, we may see a lot more stunts that we're not used to really seeing the Bears do a lot of that. These guys are supposed to be very athletic, so maybe that's what they're going to do. They're going to start using some stunts to help out on that side. You know, that's what you brought Ben Johnson here for.
No, yeah, I think you're spot on. It's you know, being able to spot the potential and what you have there and maximizing it, thinking outside the box. And we know Ben Johnson's a guy that can absolutely do that. And I think you're right in terms of the interior offensive line, the guys that have been brought in. You've got to hope that having a guy like Joe Thuney next to you on the line is going to really, really propel you to that sort of next level. And for me, Braxton Jones has always been a guy that I think has had the tools to play left tackle. You know, at points it was maybe just putting on a bit of extra weight or whatever, and sort of progressing from there. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how that offensive line develops, and I'll come back to the offense in just a minute as well. I wanted to also get your thoughts on some other parts of the depth chart. We talked about the cornerback position. Jalen Johnson today had come out to say that, you know, if the game was today, then he wouldn't be playing. But he's going to hopefully be available for Monday. For me, I'm looking at that and I'm going, well, behind him, you've got probably Nashon Wright, who's going to come in as your starter.
Aye.
You know, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Where are you with the cornerbacks? You know, considering how our pass rush is as well and the knock-on effect there, sort of thing.
Well, okay, so Nashon Wright was really exposed in the last preseason game against Kansas City. He didn't look good. I mean, they went right at him. Listen, Think about last year when Jalen Johnson was playing, they went after Tyreek Stevenson. He was the most targeted cornerback in the NFL last year. And that's because they were staying away from Jalen Johnson. So now you have a Tyreek Stevenson on one side, Nashawn Wright on the other. Why not Kyler Gordon? Kyler, like I know that Dennis Allen likes Kyler Gordon in like a safety role as well. But listen, you're paying him money. He's going to have to be on the field, and it's going to take some creativity out of Dennis Allen with the back end of this defense as well. The thing that Dennis Allen likes to do is he wants these guys playing man defense. You don't have Jalen Johnson in there, you can't really play man defense on the back end. They got exposed. They were getting beat, not with the wide receivers that the Bears are going to be facing right off the bat. So yeah, the back end is in a bit of trouble, and this mysterious soft tissue injury with Jalen Johnson just could not have come at a worse time. So Nashawn Wright's going to have to be coached up. He is going to have to be mistake free. And I think you're going to see a lot of safety help. And boy, you know, that front pass rush, that front four, they have to get some pressure on, because if JJ McCarthy is able to pick up the pressure and dump the ball off, that's where the Bears are in trouble. Once you get past the second line of defense with the linebackers, the Bears could get in trouble there.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. You know, if we don't have the coverage in place, we're not giving our pass rush enough time to get to the quarterback and all this kind of stuff. You know, so the huge knock-on effect there of not having Jalen Johnson is huge. Talking about the pass rush, because it's a huge talking point for me. Cheap Pop, I wrote an article for Bear Report last week that came out, and I questioned, has Ryan Poles done enough at the pass rush position? And if you look back at, you know, what he's brought in the draft or in free agency, the biggest move is Montez Sweat. And admittedly, you know, he would probably say himself last season he didn't have a stellar kind of season at all. So let me ask you, were the Bears right not to push the boat out for Micah Parsons? And if not, then where does that pressure come from on the exterior of the defensive line?
Well, let's start with the Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, if it's true what Jerry Jones said, and once they decided that they were going to listen to offers for Micah Parsons, and number one was you had to be able to sign him to a new deal. The Bears did not have the money to do that. Number two, they needed a run stopper. They wanted a defensive tackle up the gut that was going to help them. They got a Pro Bowler in return, and the Bears don't have that. So, yeah, was I angry and upset that they let Micah Parsons go to their rivals in the NFC North? Yeah, but the Bears' cupboard was bare. They did not have what it would have taken to get into the Micah Parsons sweepstakes. It's really that simple. So now without Micah Parsons, seeing him once this year against the Cowboys, they'll see him twice this year now against the Packers. Where is the pass rush going to come from? That's a great question. Austin Booker is out the first 4 games. He will not return until after the bye. He was probably your best option. I'm not convinced that Odiengo is a guy that they're going to be getting this mysterious number of sacks from. I think they're in trouble. I think that unless we suddenly see Dominique Robinson play like he's never played before, or Daniel Hardy, who's really he's a special teams guy, but every now and then he makes a great play on defense, and you're like, oh yeah, he's just not consistent enough. So yeah, they're going to be exposed, and the areas that Ryan Poles tries to help, it's like he does it halfway. Offensive line, I'm going to fix it, but I'm going to just fix it in the middle and not worry about the edge. Defensive line, I'm going to fix it in the middle so that we can stop the run. But I'm going to like hope that someone comes alive, that our coaches are able to coach up Dominique Robinson, who's finally going to become this guy that the coaches seem to love the last two regimes. Again, they're going to be exposed, and they're the areas that were not addressed.
Yeah, moving on to the actual game then. So, we talked about it a little bit at the start there. Big questions about the offense. So, for me, we've had this off-season, I said it already, where it's all been sunshine and roses. We've won the off-season. We've got these guys in and all this kind of stuff. Great. But when the actual game starts, the big thing, first and foremost, is this is Ben Johnson's first proper game as a head coach. How does that go? We then have to then look at that. Do we have to be realistic and expecting to have a slow start rather than out the traps, Ben Johnson, Detroit Lions offense scoring 40 points sort of thing? Looking at that first game against Minnesota, considering the pass rushes that they've added over the off season, and generally coming up against a Brian Flores defense, where do you sort of see that matchup between Ben Johnson and Brian Flores with the offense defense? Up until this point, Johnson's had the sort of the 5-1 record against the Vikings when he was in Detroit, but is that going to translate to this team in Chicago?
Yeah. I like you just said it, Tony. Here's the thing. Here's the best thing going for the Bears right now is that Ben Johnson is used to playing against the Vikings twice a year, and he can pull up his old game plans against them and say, oh yeah, wait, I don't have Jared Goff. We can't use this, and this. Oh yeah, I don't have this offensive line. We can't do this, and this. But what Ben Johnson can do is know what his team is capable of doing. And I actually, Tony, I do think that there is a very good chance that they will be able to, with those super smart interior offensive linemen, whether it is Joe Tooney or Chris Dahlman or Jonah Jackson, they're going to be able to pick up the blitz. They're going to see what Brian Flores is doing. They've been there. They've seen it before. Having those three guys, really smart offensive linemen, helping Caleb out, identifying the blitz, identifying the backer, identifying where the safety's going. And this is why he has Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift. This is why you just give him those short dump off passes and let those guys make the plays. If Caleb Williams can get the passes off quickly, I do think the Bears have a great opportunity in this game. Nobody knows what to expect from JJ McCarthy. Nobody really knows. I mean, here he's a local Chicago guy who played at Michigan, but didn't drop back and pass a whole lot, is a good game manager, and missed his first year. So is that going to be held against him? Or is it going to be good that he actually was able to observe for his rookie year and not have to play? It's the big unknown, but that should be an advantage to the Bears at home at Soldier Field.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same thing. Monday Night Football, prime time. You've got a guy making his first start. The lights are on him. The pressure's on him. And inevitably, they're going to make, they're going to be comparisons in the sense that Caleb and JJ were both taken in the same draft. And there's questions over Caleb and should the Bears have taken someone else, and that's inevitable. So it'll be nice to see another quarterback get a bit of pressure and a bit of exposure to all sorts of criticism as well. So I'm really curious to see how that works out. For me, what I was going to ask you about though, because we looked at the Bears last year and they were 5 games where they probably were within 3 points of winning the game.
Yeah.
And whether that be better coaching decisions or whether that be better execution, is a difference between them being a 5-win team and a 10-win team. That's how close it was last season. A lot of the questions have been regarding the pre-snap process and pre-snap penalties and all that kind of stuff. Ben Johnson has said, in terms of pre-snap penalties, you know what the plays are, what the cadences are. You feel the pressure on game days, and we've put the pressure on the players in camp so that when it gets to the game day, it's replicated a little bit better. In terms of the pre-snap stuff and what you've seen in camp or whatever else, do you think that that's something that's been eradicated a little bit in terms of stuff that was going on last year, or do you have concerns over that continuing, especially at the early stages of the season?
Yeah, I think that we've seen some definite improvement over the training camp. The whole pre-snap process, you dumb it down to the point of what is the issues here? Why is pre-snap so important? Well, first of all, Caleb Williams learned a new language. He learned a new offense and the new language that Ben Johnson is using. These play calls are long. They're very verbose, very wordy. What Ben Johnson was able to do was cut some of it down, realizing it's a lot to get out. And when people don't realize that, first you have to hear it in your headset from Ben Johnson. If it's a long play call, you're waiting, hearing it. Okay, now you have to translate it, repeat it to the huddle. Make sure everyone understands what they're doing. This is what we're looking for here. This is what we're looking for here. And keep an eye on that play clock, right? Now you're getting ready to snap the ball. Now you got to identify where their middle linebacker is, where the safety is. So the process, it can be really difficult. But what they have done is they have shortened some of it. We have not seen Joe Thuney in a preseason game. Yeah. So to see the difference with Chris Dellman and Joe Thuney, I think is going to really be a big, big difference in helping Caleb and what he's seeing. I do also think that they are not going to overload Caleb's plate, and they're just going to try to put it in the hands of the playmakers. But Tony, I still think if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm letting Caleb air it out early, try to get an early lead on this team, and force JJ McCarthy to be the one that has to play quarterback.
Yeah, I think the run game is going to be huge. I think getting the play action off the back of that's going to be huge. And the answer to my question I was going to ask you as well, Ben Johnson's thrown a lot of Caleb in training camp. Does that happen again in the game? Or do they slowly build up as the season progresses? Because I think last year he probably could have benefited from keeping it a bit more simple to start with. But then again, he's now got a year in his bag, that experience and the pressure and everything that comes with it. Do you think it is going to be a slow ramp up as the season goes on?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I think it only makes sense because you're not just suddenly throwing the whole book at Caleb and making him, play it all. I think they're going to see what he does best. They're going to keep the play calling to those types of plays, and they will slowly layer on and add on as he improves and as he gets better. I think that's just a very natural learning process. The bye week's early this year, and so that's to the Bears' benefit. That is where this new coaching staff is going to sit back and really grade themselves and self-analyze on what's working, what isn't working. And I think when you start seeing your offensive linemen in game speed, I think you're going to start seeing that as well. My concern, though, you mentioned it, was, the running game is going to be important. I don't know who all is going to be carrying the ball for the Bears. I mean, when you have guys like Roschon Johnson injured, Travis Homer goes on IR. You have Kyle Monangai, who was really looking good. He gets injured. So they're banged up. I don't know if this is because of the way they played in training camp, that it was a tougher one than typical, but they're banged up at a lot of positions that are key. So DeAndre Swift may have to get more carries than anticipated.
Yeah. DJ Moore in the backfield might be an option for a
Exactly.
definite.
Yep.
Might be something that happens. Peggy, I'll just keep you for another few minutes. Just wanted to quickly ask you about the Vikings themselves. They're going to be missing Addison. He's just suspended for first couple of weeks of the season, but they've still got guys like Justin Jefferson, got TJ Hawkinson. Obviously, Aaron Jones is there. You know, Jefferson's coming off a 1,500-yard season. Jones another over 1,000 yards again. You know, so really, really good offensive players there. What do you? And we talked about JJ McCarthy there. Does that kind of moving from Darnold to McCarthy impact those guys, or are they just going to make plays regardless?
I don't think it changes their offense very much. And the Bears defense returned most of their starters. So these guys are used to the Kevin O'Connell offense in Minnesota. I think it's really listen, we're talking about Caleb relying on his running backs and his tight ends. You're going to see the same thing from JJ McCarthy. So the middle of the field is going to be really important. And I would personally like to see Tremaine Edmonds have a much better year than he has had. I think the middle of the field is going to have to make some plays. And I think, boy, they have to stop the run because JJ McCarthy is going to be relying on Aaron Jones just as much as we're saying that Caleb Williams is going to be relying as well on, DeAndre Swift. So this could be one in the trenches. If not, it's going to be in those 10 yards surrounding the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a lot of short passes, a lot of handoffs, and the Bears have to prove that they can stop the run.
Peggy, before I let you go, what's your scoreline going to be? Are the Bears going to start off with a win? What's your prediction?
Oh, yikes. I haven't even thought about this. Let me think about this now. Well, Ben Johnson is used to scoring points in Detroit, having one of the highest scoring offenses. I don't think the Bears are quite there yet, but I do think we're going to see more points than the Bears are used to. I'm going to look on the positive side that the Bears are going to catch the Vikings. And boy, at home, I'm going to say Bears are going to win this one 27-21.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love that. But
I would too. I don't know that I feel real confident about that, though, Tony.
I will just take a win regardless of what it is, to be honest with you. Start off strong, make an impact in the NFC North. They've got the Lions the following week, so it's going to be a huge one. Peggy, listen, thank you so much for coming on and getting a chat with us before the season started. Really, obviously, great to get your input and insight on what's going on. To the guys that are listening, and the folk that will be listening later on as well. Peggy and Dion show is on ESPN Chicago. Great fun to listen to. It's very informative as well, but it's a fun show. That's what we're all about here at Bear Down Abroad. It's a fun show. Keep it interesting, keep it entertaining for the people that are listening. But Peggy, what else have you got going on for this season? Is there anything new coming up, or where can the guys see you?
I host the Bears post-game show on the Chicago Bears radio network, which can be heard on the ESPN Chicago app. It's the best place to listen to the Bears games. They are on our air. And then I host the post-game along with John Yurkovich, former Green Bay Packer. He's a Chicago kid. And so we do the post-game shows. You can catch us on Twitch as well. So if you're not able to get us on the ESPN Chicago app, check us out on Twitch, ESPN Chicago. And otherwise, there's a lot of night games this year, Tony. I'm going to be in bed. I'm going to be sleeping late a lot. People don't bother me. I am not a night person. I might be a little ornery if the schedule gets crazy and they don't start picking up some wins. But otherwise, you know what? I'm excited about this season. It's always fun when there's so much newness and a lot to watch and keep track of. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Peggy, I understand what you're talking about. The game on Monday starts at 1:15 in the morning over here. So I will be up my usual up to 5 in the morning watching the Bears. We've
Oh,
been slugging through it for the last decade, but hopefully we start to make inroads this season and it starts going in a positive direction. But Peggy, once again, thanks very much. It'd be great to get you back on at some point, maybe later on in the season, catch up and see how things are going. But once again, thank you very much. Take care of yourself and enjoy the season.
you got it, Tony. Thank you. Say hi to Aunt for me, okay?
I will do. I will do. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye. All right, guys. So that was Peggy from ESPN Chicago, who came on to give us our insight on everything Bears going into week one. Really, really excited to see where this season goes. Unfortunately, Ant isn't here to give us his input on how he thinks the game's going to go. However, we will have a game day show on next Monday at the same time. We're going to be joined by Ben Devine and the Windy City Productions. We're going to get some chat going in terms of scores, etc. Obviously, later on this week, we should have the injury report come out as well, which gives a better indication as to where guys like Jalen Johnson are at and the running back situation, etc. So that'll be good to get that. And then it's just building up. But I'm just delighted, guys, to be honest with you, that we've got football back on Thursday and on Sunday as well. And I've already told my wife that the football's starting on Sunday, so that's Sunday out for doing most things, and that's just the way it's got to be, So right through until February, and hopefully the Bears are playing right through until that point as well. But so that's everything for us from this week. As I said, just a shorter show today, just to get Peggy's insight on what's going on. But as always, guys. Follow the show, like the videos. If you can share it with your friends and your family as well. Get people involved. Let us know what you want to have or who you want us to get on the show. We've been really, really lucky in the guys that we have managed to get on so far. And hopefully, as I say, we can continue that moving forward. So, as I say, back next Monday, unless the Bears make some sort of like dramatic signing or a trade, which is not going to happen anymore, then it will be Monday. But if they do something, then you never know, we might be back. But if not, we'll see you on Monday. Enjoy the games at the weekend. Bear down and take care of yourself, lads. Cheers.